Excited to get this thing rolling. A lot of hard work has been put in by our team over the last 8-9 months. So finally opening day is here, and so we're all very excited to get going and see what this team's made of. Want to see what our strengths and weaknesses are so that we can get to work on them ASAP. So face a real good Liberty team, good program this weekend, so be a good test for us right out of the gate.
Mark, over these last 3 weeks since the kids came back from winter break, what have you learned the most about this team?
Well, the good thing is they worked really hard over the break, so they all came back in really good shape. That's the first thing you try to evaluate when they get back. And they're all making good progress. At the end of the day, that's what you want to see. You want to see improvement. You want to see progress. You want to see guys that are learning what it takes at this level. So far we've seen that.
Chose Reed as your Sunday starter, I guess. Just what made him stand out, I guess, over the rest, and what do you think he'll be able to contribute to the rotation?
Well, we had a lot of good candidates for that spot, but we landed on Reed thinking for opening weekend. He's a guy that has really good stuff. He's an older guy, has a calm presence about him, has a good slider, has a good fastball that he can really spot up. So I think if you can find a guy with really good pitchability for Sunday, I think that's a good way to go.
Kind of a similar question. When did you first realize that Dylan had the potential to do this, and are you surprised, impressed? How would you term, the fact that he's going to be your Saturday guy?
Yeah, I'd say all the above. I don't think you go into it thinking that a spring sign will be your Saturday starter the following year. That generally doesn't happen, but he's a unique kid in everything we've seen so far. He's been through a lot in his personal life, and because of that, I think he has a pretty good, calm maturity about him. So that combined with his arm that can be up to 95 miles an hour, and he's been really tough for our guys to hit in the fall and in the spring. It just was kind of a natural progression. I don't think you can really pinpoint when did the light go on and say, hey, let's make this guy our Saturday starter. He just kept pitching really well over and over and over again, and it just got to the point where it was obvious to everybody he was one of our best guys.
Coach, do you have any more clarity on that first base position?
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably look at a couple guys early in the season, but we feel good about Seitler. We feel good about Holiday. Brady Allen can be moved in to play there potentially. Luke Berryhill has gotten some reps there. So we feel that we'll land on somebody that can get the job done. And maybe it's a platoon. Maybe it's one of those guys just runs with the position. Nobody has totally won the job where you just say he's our everyday guy, but we have guys there with really good potential.
Coach, I know you're working on the message in fall ball, the lead up to the spring ball actually getting here, and then I'm sure opening day. What changes in the message, or does it stay the same, consistent, or do you emphasize any other points differently?
No, with our team, we emphasize the same messages all the time. How do you prepare? Are you ready? Are you doing everything you can to maximize your ability, whether it's nutrition, whether it's the sleep you get, whether it's the video work, whether it's the weight room. Nothing changes. There's a process. You follow that process and you stick to it. So at the end of the day, you just have to have really good discipline in everything you do. Now that the season starts, that stays the same.
We'll stay in the back.
Coach, just over right back here in the back. Coach, just over the course of the offseason, what have you seen from Carmen that gives you the confidence that he can go from that bullpen guy last year to the end of the season starter, and now he can take the reins as your #1 guy? What sort of qualities have you seen him show in the offseason? Yeah,
he's gotten bigger physically, which has allowed the fastball to get a little better. He's developed a cutter with Coach Meade that I think will be a really good pitch for him. His off-speed stuff is a little bit better. And because of having more physicality, I think he should have better command of his pitches and maybe have a little bit more length to how far he can go in a game. He's a guy last year that was put out there sometimes did really well, other times he struggled, but I think you grow through that. So I think as a sophomore now, a lot of times the biggest jump you see out of players is from freshman to sophomore year. So he's earned this right to get this crack at this Friday night job, and now we'll see how he does.
A couple of questions. Do you know your batting order right now for tomorrow, or do you kind of go based on a feel right before game time? And also, do you go into the weekend with your mindset on some guys that you want to see play who may not be in the opening day lineup for tomorrow?
Yeah, good question. We have a general feel for what our lineup will be. We won't release it today. Obviously, we don't want to give our opponent any extra time to go study all the hitters and the order they'll be in. But we have a good feel for what our lineup will be. We generally release it to our players about lunchtime on the day of, so they have plenty of time to get their minds ready for what they need to do that day. And then, I'm sorry, what was the second question? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We have more than 9 hitters that I think deserve a chance and a look this weekend. So we'll try to get more than 9 hitters in the game this weekend. A lot of that will be, determined by what's going on in the games and the scores and who's pitching for the other team, et cetera. But we definitely have more than 9 guys that we want to get a look.
Is this opening day different for you now that you've been here a year? Do you think you're less nervous, more nervous? What?
I think it's very similar. At the end of the day, you have your team and your staff tries to get them ready, and then once the opening day comes around, you just want to see what it looks like. The only difference, I would say, last year we didn't know what it would feel like on opening day. We had heard about it and we'd seen videos of it, but you hadn't really been in the dugout yet to experience it. So I would say we now know what it feels like to be in that dugout with a great crowd behind us and the adrenaline of a Founders Park baseball game. Past that, I'd say everything else is pretty much the same.
What have you seen out of Andrew Eister and Brady Allen leading up to opening day? And do you have a sense of where you'd like to see them in the outfield? I know they've been kind of switching corner spots in spring.
Yeah, I would say Eister probably is the right fielder right now, and he'll start in right field tomorrow night. Brady Allen is more than capable of playing left, center, or right, and just depending on how everybody else around him is looking, will determine where he plays. But there's a good chance he'll be in the lineup tomorrow night. So both those guys have done well. They have big-time potential. Now they just need to get their feet wet against this kind of competition.
You're right, Jeff.
Other than Sawyer and Ridge, how does your bullpen line up? Do you have specific roles for the rest of the guys?
Yeah, the rest of the guys you're looking at, and I hope I don't forget anybody, but Lehman is going to be a key guy back there. This opening weekend, Gilreath will be a key guy. Danny Lloyd has really come on. Sweat has come on. Tringali has come on. So we've got a lot of options back there we feel pretty good about. So my hope is that whoever we give the ball to, we don't have to ask them to do too much. And from what we've seen so far, they're all capable of getting the job done.
Based on what you've seen in camp, you think you can match or come close to the .980 fielding percentage of last season?
That's going to be tough. That was I don't know where that ranks in the history of South Carolina. We never actually looked that up, but I know last year is one of the top ones in the country. So lost some really good guys on the infield. Bride, Tolbert, Rowe, Williams were really good, experienced guys who had played a lot and played really well last year. On opening day, do I expect it to be as good as it was in Game 3 of a Super Regional? Maybe not, but I think we can get there. I think the shifts will have a lot to do with trying to protect guys in terms of knowing where the ball will go most likely. So I think that helps your defense, so they don't have as many tough plays to make. I think that really helped those guys last year. I think this can be a very solid group. Whether they're one of the top 10 defenses in the country, I think that remains to be seen.
Coach, you spent a lot of time in the fall and the preseason talking about opener and getting weird with the bullpen and stuff like that. Now that opening day is here.
That was your term, I think, getting weird there.
Getting weird, yeah. Now that we're here at opening day, I guess how likely is it we'll see any of that?
Yeah, we're going to go into this season being traditional with the traditional model of starters, middle relievers, setup men, and closers, and maybe some matchup lefties. We'll start traditional. I don't see any reason to try to break something that's not, that doesn't need to be fixed yet. However, if we get into the season and it's not working at a level that we think is where we want it, then we'll look into that stuff. I think all that information is good to have in your tool chest, and you don't go use it unless you need to. So we'll start with a traditional model, and then if we're not getting the desired results, then we'll look at other options to maybe try to spark something.
Yeah, when it comes to shifting on your infield, it seemed like basically every play out there during the scrimmages, y'all had shifts put on. Do you expect to do that much in the season? Was it something that y'all are just practicing to get a feel for? Do you anticipate doing it more than last year?
Well, we won't shift in games as much as we did in practice. The guys have been playing in traditional spots their entire life, so we don't feel like, we feel like they'll be fine in those traditional spots. So we try to get them as many reps as we could in shifted positions so that they could get just as comfortable there. So we'll have different positioning for different guys. We shifted most of our hitters in our scrimmages here. You won't see every guy shifted in the regular season, but again, that was done in a way to get guys increased reps so that they're more comfortable. And the double play, turning the double play out of the shift is something you really have to work on because it's something our guys have never done before. Cuts and relays change a little bit when you shift. Communication changes a little bit because there's areas where shortstop is used to getting a ball, but now if the second baseman is shifted on his side, now it's his ball. So we just try to get as many reps as we could, and then to make sure that when we do decide to do it in games, they're already comfortable.
Going back to your first opening day here, was there one thing about the atmosphere that impressed you the most or maybe exceeded your expectations, was better than you heard it would be?
I just love the buzz in the ballpark. I love watching guys come in from center field. Our fans come in from center field. I love how they come in from center field and they can go left, they can go right, and you just see the people kind of swarming towards the center of the ballpark behind home plate. I just love that there's so many areas. You have the kids up in the playground. You have our season ticket holders behind home plate. You have other people that love to walk the concourse. I just love all of it. I love all of it. There's just such a buzz in the ballpark, and to me, opening day in baseball at every level is very special. And Founders Park definitely does it right. And I'm looking out at our park right now with the bunting out there and the new graphics, and a park really comes to life on opening day. And I just think I think it's a great thing.
Talked a lot about Chris Collin advancing defensively behind the plate, but he talked before the spring started about how he kind of simplified his swing a little bit and is using his leverage a little bit more. I guess, what does that mean when he does something like that? And have you seen him kind of tweak his swing to where it's kind of working for him?
Yeah, Chris is a guy, he's so big that at times, if you're not really aware of keeping your swing shorter, that against good velocity, it can, it makes it a lot harder to hit when being so tall and long. So he's just tried to really, make his movements efficient, which he's done a good job of. He's had a really good spring for us, and now it's just a matter of being consistent. Sometimes it's harder for bigger guys to be consistent with their mechanics, so whether that's pitchers or hitters. So with him, it's just a matter of now that he's found the right feel for his mechanics, now to just maintain that.
The health of the team, specifically Olson and Hopkins.
Yeah, Hopkins is good. Knock on wood. Olson's good. I think, unfortunately, when you deal with 18 to 22-year-old kids, everybody's day to day, and you're always one swing away, or one bad hop ground ball away, or one run into the gap of pulling your hamstring. So we're doing everything we possibly can to try to protect our players. But at the end of the day, they're still 18 to 22-year-old athletes that are playing at a very high level. So you just have to try to be prepared for every possible situation. But right now, I'd say our health is solid. As of right now, yes. And even just FYI, Jenkins has been taking batting practice, so he's probably not as far away as we originally had feared.
Is the left side of your infield settled with Olson and Neville?
That's who will start tomorrow night, and obviously we'll evaluate, like every other spot, because we have so many new guys, we'll evaluate everything we do. Guys have worked hard to get to this spot, and certain guys will get the first opportunity and the first crack to be the option at those spots. But we'll evaluate everything as we go. But as it stands today, Olson and Neville will start on the left side tomorrow night.
Coach, any specific points of emphasis that you feel like as long as we do this and that, we'll succeed tomorrow that you're focusing in on?
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, the sport of baseball has been won and lost the same way for a long, long time. You better pitch well. You better not give the other team extra outs with walks and errors. You better take really good quality at bats. You better be able to put pressure on the other team's defense. Same things. That will never change in the sport of baseball. So you've got to have good fundamental defense. You have to be able to pitch, and then you have to be able to have enough of an offense to hopefully be explosive, but if you're not explosive, have different ways to create runs so that you can beat the other team.
On Liberty, how well do you know Scott Jackson? Have y'all's paths crossed at all? And also, what what did they do well that could present y'all some problems over the weekend?
Yeah, they're an interesting team. Obviously, they're a team that's gone to a ton of NCAA regionals. A lot of their players now, I think, are still from the Jim Toman era when he was there. Scott Jackson and I have known each other for a while from the recruiting trail, so I know he'll run an aggressive, well-coached outfit. They've got some power arms on the weekend. They're going right, left, right this weekend with a lefty in the middle. That's more of a pitchability guy. The Friday, Sunday guys are power arm types. So they've got 5 or 6 returning starters that they'll go with, and it'll be a good matchup. There's no doubt about it. There's no pushovers in Division I baseball anymore, and this is a team that's an NCAA caliber type team.
Anything else, Coach?
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.